Over 40 roads are closed today in Athens after heavy overnight rain. The city is getting ready to accept bids for a new project. We'll tell you where.
And in sports, the playoffs are upon us. See what local basketball teams punch their tickets to the next round.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
Floods after a night of heavy rain have been making it difficult to get around. Good evening, I'm Clark Wicks. Thanks for joining us. More than 40 streets in Athens County were closed today because of flooding, a trend we could continue to see through Sunday morning. Reporter Chelsea Sick took to the streets today to show the risks of driving through high water.
I'm standing on Fisher Road just off of State Route 32, and as you can see, this is completely flooded as far back as I can see. The currents in the road are strong. The water is moving quickly, which is a major danger to those trying to drive through the deep water. The current was strong enough to carry these hay bales in a field next to the road. Director of Athens County Emergency Management, Dan Pfeiffer, says it does not matter what car you drive, do not risk driving through high water.
Never drive through flooded water. I mean, many deaths across the United States, actually the majority of deaths, flooding deaths, are due to people trying to drive through flooded water. It doesn't take much water across the road to flood a car, and then there's not much you can do after that.
As rain will continue to fall through the weekend, he wants to remind everyone how dangerous it is to play in flood water.
The water is very fast. It looks very calm. That all that water has a current to it, could easily pull you down and pull you away quite fast, and you're going to drown. It's not safe. It's dirty water. You have a cut, or you get a cut, you can get a serious infection.
The flood watch is in effect until at least Sunday afternoon, so please be cautious the next couple days as you are traveling down the roads. Do not risk going down roads with high water like this one. Remember, turn around, don't drown. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Chelsea Sick.
Thanks, Chelsea. For a full list of roads with high water and updates, be sure to check out woub.org. Now, with even more rain in the forecast, Meigs County officials are holding a meeting tomorrow to discuss possible plans to combat the flooding. According to Meigs County Emergency Management Agency Director Jamie Jones, the villages of Pomeroy and Racine will get about 4 or 5 more inches of rain by the end of the weekend. According to the National Weather Service, both the Pomeroy and Racine locks will experience major flooding if the predictions are accurate.
Well, back to reality is the weather story of the day. Hi, everybody. I'm forecaster Nicholas Snyder. Tuesday, we saw those temperatures in the 80s. Yesterday in the 60s. Today, only in the 40s. Right now in Athens, 45 degrees. That is not the right graphic up there. We apologize for that. 45 degrees is the current temperature right now in Athens. Humidity is 88%. The pressure is 30.41 inches. And steady winds are out of the east at 6 miles an hour. 44 in New Lexington, 47 in Columbus, 43 in Newark, all under mainly cloudy skies, just chilly out there. But the big story is the weather we're going to be seeing this weekend. Our weather photo of the week coming from Sean Smith, showing very heavy rain up in Cleveland. Thank you, Sean, for that. And of course, if you want to send in your weather photos as well as receive any weather updates or ask me any weather question, go ahead and give me a follow at Snyder_WX on Twitter and Instagram. But the highlights for the next couple of days. Again, we're back to reality, up and down temperatures for the next couple of days, and a ton of rain for the weekend, as you see up there. We'll talk about all of that coming up in my full forecast in just a couple of minutes.
The Arts West building is finally receiving some much-needed renovations. The renovations are for the basement of the building. Program specialist Emily Beveridge says bids for the project will be sent out soon. Mayor Steve Patterson says he is aware of the issue at Arts West and is hoping improvements will begin in the next few weeks.
This most recent plan for renovation is long due, and hopefully as the bids come in, we've got someone who's going to bid on it, and number two, that it stays within the 10% over the engineer's estimate to where we can accept that bid.
The renovation is expected to cost around $200,000. A threat at Nelsonville York schools today was found to be not credible. The threat was reported early this morning, and the school was placed on lockdown. The nature of the threat has not been disclosed, and no arrests have been reported. Nelsonville police investigated the threat immediately and found the school to be safe. Thousands of teachers in West Virginia were not in class today. Instead, teachers and school service personnel across the state are protesting pay and health insurance issues. Governor Jim Justice signed a new law yesterday, giving a 2% raise next year to teachers, followed by a 1% raise the following 2 years. But teachers' unions say the bill is not enough to cover the increasing costs of health insurance. Today was the first day of a 2-day walkout. The Kentucky House is putting the limits on benefits for some injured workers. The bill marks the biggest changes to workers' compensation laws in decades. It calls for a 15-year cap on how long workers can collect benefits. Currently, workers are entitled to medical benefits for the duration of the disability. However, the bill would allow workers to file for recertification after the 15 years is up. In response to last week's school shooting in Florida, students at some Ohio high schools are staging walkouts in protest to gun violence. Several hundred students walked out of Upper Arlington High School near Columbus yesterday afternoon, joining thousands of other students from across the country. The Upper Arlington walkout lasted 17 minutes as the names of the 17 Florida victims were read. Walkouts also took place at Westlake and Lakewood High Schools in Cleveland. Now, a candidate in the Ohio governor's race is challenging the state's election chief decision to keep him off the ballot. Democrat John Heavey says he was told he did not have the required number of signatures on petitions. Heavey says the signature review by Republican Secretary of State John Husted is rigged. Even though he was a late entrant, Heavey says his campaign gathered more than twice the required 1,000 signatures and cross-checked them against voter databases. Husted certified statewide candidates yesterday. Heavey was one of 3 Democrats kept off the ballot. Now, a state lawmaker is moving to force a review of Ohio's medical marijuana program. Republican Senator Bill Coley proposed legislation today requiring State Auditor Dave Yost to look into the program. The Ohio Department of Commerce acknowledged mistakes in selecting and scoring growers last week. Yost has stopped the process for review now. Yost has stated that stopping the process for now is too late.
They had just done their due diligence and checked their work. And before they issued the licenses, we wouldn't be here. But this entire process has been shoddy and poorly managed.
Some unsuccessful applicants for grower licenses have sued over the alleged failures. Yost is telling the department to now focus on defending the lawsuits. The West Virginia Senate is advancing legislation to delete a section of state regulations on water pollution by surface coal mining. The bill from the Senate Energy Industry and Mining Committee would keep mining companies from receiving certification for mitigating damage to streams or more than 250 acres of watershed. The current law says mitigation costs can exceed $200,000 per acre. Now, Twitter is suspending people's accounts. We'll tell you why. Plus, the debate over guns continue. We'll tell you about other places in the country where people are speaking out. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
We are here for the same reason, although I suspect we hope for different results.
You know what they say, yeah, the wicked get no rest.
I do not admire you for this.
Looking at my heart, in a place,
It's always sex, isn't it?
got so much to lose.
Full love.
So much to prove.
For judgment.
God, don't let me lose.
We are not amused.
God.
Trouble on my left, trouble on my right. I've been facing trouble on my side.
This is how you'll be a man.
My sweet love, won't you pull me through?
Are you becoming squeamish?
Oh, God, your mother's here.
The lesbians. They're getting married. You're having a great time.
God, don't let me lose
Yes.
my mind.
onward and onward.
Good ideas open up a whole new world of possibilities.
The more you know about history, the more you know about yourself.
The sky is the limit.
Where I go, there you are.
As survivors of last week's deadly shooting in Parkland, Florida mobilized to push for gun control, some lawmakers are considering potential legislation. President Trump also announced some changes he'd like to see. Natasha Chen is in Washington with the latest.
With impassioned pleas from survivors in Florida.
This isn't about red and blue.
Why do we have to march on Washington just to save innocent lives?
It is now up to leaders in Washington to either take action or keep the status quo.
We want to get something done.
At a listening session with state and local leaders, President Donald Trump laid out specific changes he wants to see.
We're going to do strong background checks. We're going to work on getting the age up to 21 instead of 18. We're getting rid of the bump stocks, and we're going to be focusing very strongly on mental health.
The president also floated the idea of training and arming some teachers and staffers to carry weapons in schools.
I think a concealed permit for having teachers and letting people know that there are people in the building with guns. You won't have, in my opinion, you won't have these shootings.
That idea was rejected by Republican Senator Marco Rubio at a CNN town hall Wednesday.
The notion that my kids are going to school with teachers that are armed with a weapon is not something that, quite frankly, I'm comfortable with.
But the NRA, which financially supports several Republican lawmakers, including Rubio, strongly supports arming teachers. At the annual Conservative Political Action Conference in Maryland, the head of the NRA, Wayne LaPierre, underscored that message.
To stop a bad guy with a gun, it takes a good guy with a gun.
It's unclear whether gun control will be on the agenda when Congress returns from recess next week. In Washington, I'm Natasha Chen.
Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School students will return to campus next week. For now, a temporary fence surrounds the building. The Union for School Police in Baltimore City wants their officers to carry guns inside of schools. Currently armed, Baltimore school officers can frequently be seen patrolling campus grounds. However, a law currently prohibits them from displaying their guns inside school buildings. The head of the police union says that needs to change.
We've had Sandy Hook, we've had now Parkland, Florida, and we have these situations that exist, and our officers want to be able to stand in between danger and our students.
School officers used to carry guns in city schools from 2001 to 2015 before the law was passed. But for now, there's no real push in the General Assembly to get rid of the law. Some city school police officials say is tying their hands. A National Security Advisor, H.R. McMaster, could be leaving the White House. Defense and administration officials say a search is underway to find a military post that would count as a promotion for McMaster. The White House didn't respond to CNN's request for comment. Press Secretary Sarah Sanders says Trump still has confidence in McMaster. Last weekend, Trump chided McMaster on Twitter for not saying the election results were not impacted by the Russians. McMaster said evidence of Russian meddling is now incontrovertible. A suspect is in critical condition after officials say he slammed his car into a hospital and set himself on fire today in Connecticut. The town's mayor said it was a deliberate act and that there were gas cans in the vehicle. The mayor said it's believed to be an isolated incident, but added that police were investigating a nearby home and had evacuated neighboring houses. Officials haven't released the suspect's identity. Twitter says it's working to cripple spam bots on its platform. The company's safety manager said yesterday users won't be able to post identical content across multiple accounts at once. They also won't be able to retweet or like posts from numerous accounts at the same time. The goal is to prevent users from controlling accounts to make a particular point of view appear to have more support than it actually does. Twitter would not comment on how many accounts it recently removed or verified. Federal net neutrality protections designed to foster a fair and open internet are set to end on April 23rd. The FCC voted last year to end the Obama-era regulations. Net neutrality bars internet providers from blocking or slowing down access to online content or prioritizing their own content. Attorney generals from more than 20 red and blue states filed a lawsuit last month to stop the repeal. Next, flu season, you will be able to get your vaccine without a needle. FluMist, the nasal spray influenza vaccine, has been approved for the 2018-2019 season. It's been off the market for 2 years because of its poor performance compared to the flu shot. But the company that makes FluMist said Wednesday it has reformulated the vaccine and has tested it on 200 kids and says it now works better. The advisory committee, which decides which vaccines are available on the U.S. market, agreed. Coming up, a rescue from floodwaters in Indiana that you don't want to miss.
And weather-wise, we have a ton of rain ahead for the weekend. We'll talk about watches and warnings and everything regarding the floods coming up in my full forecast in the next couple of minutes. But first, a look at stocks of local interest.
I don't mind saying it.
Now you look like an astronaut.
My dream is to walk on the moon.
2, 1.
Look at this place.
It's a crazy design.
It's nearly impossible.
What is the next step toward furthering our presence in the cosmos?
That was something.
Oh, this is incredible.
Very, very scary.
Reality is always more unbelievable than anything we could have imagined.
We're literally on the cutting edge.
Unreal.
How's it going, everybody? I am Nick Niehaus, the host of Hardwood Heroes. Be sure to keep up with us all season long. We have action to cover, and all 18 teams of ours are ready to ball out. We will have action for you on Twitter, Facebook, and even Snapchat, so make sure to always be on the lookout. Our shows are only once a week, but the action is almost every day. So make sure to keep up with our YouTube channel to see nightly recaps with our 2 online hosts. We will be your guide through the crazy world of Tri-Valley Conference basketball, so be sure to stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Hari Srinivasan from the PBS NewsHour.
And I'm Mark Brewer from WOUB.
Join me on PBS NewsHour and PBS NewsHour Weekend for the latest news and analysis of the issues that matter most to you.
Weeknights at 7 p.m. and Sundays at 5 right here on WOUB Public Media.
We are back to reality today. Hi, everybody. I'm forecaster Nicholas Snyder. Only 45 outside right now. Certainly in contrast to what we saw on Tuesday with those temperatures in the 80s. The humidity is up there with those dew points pretty close to the actual air temperature. The air pressure is 30.41 and steady, and the winds are east at 6 miles an hour. Now we'll take a look at the watches and warnings for the viewing area. This map is just a green mess. So we'll talk about this. First of all, we have a flood advisory for Franklin County, flood warning for Pickaway County at the Scioto River, flood warning for Pike and Scioto counties for the Scioto River, flood warning for Jackson, Vinton, that is Gallia, Meigs, Athens, Perry, Morgan, Washington, Putnam County, Wood counties in West Virginia, for all that rain. And of course, everyone is under a flood watch in the entire viewing area except for Ritchie, Wirt, and Putnam counties in West Virginia. Just a green mess. So what do you do when you're under a flood warning? Well, expect heavy rainfall, expect creek and river flooding, and of course, never drive in flooded roadways. Turn around, don't drown. And even we had a reporter see a truck stalled out on the roads today, just very messy. You want to avoid that. And it's all due to this area of low pressure, the stationary front that's stalled out. Look at all these low pressures, 1, 2, 3. They will all be moving our way, bringing rain into the area. That's tomorrow. And then this is Saturday, just rain, rain, and more rain. The Hocking River may set a record for this weekend. One of our forecasters, Ethan Emery, said it's only 4 inches, forecast 4 inches to be below the record. So for tonight, 45 cloudy will start you out at 8 p.m. By midnight, 44. Those showers start to move in, and rain is likely by 4 a.m. at 46 as those rain showers move in. So for the bus stop tomorrow, 44 showers after midnight. Winds are going to be out of the east at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Temperatures tonight will be in the middle and upper 40s. The warm spot 49 down in Ironton, the cool spot 40 in Newark. Rain showers possible after midnight. So for the bus stop, rain likely, 48. Make sure you have the umbrellas, raincoats, and winds are going to be out of the south at 0 to 5 miles an hour. 8 a.m. we start you out at 48. We warm you up all the way to 62 by 4 p.m. But look at this, rain, and just more rain. It's going to be a very wet day tomorrow. So 62 tomorrow in Athens. Rain likely. There is that flood warning still in effect. Winds are out of the south-southwest at 5 to 10. All across the area, temperatures will be in the upper 50s and lower 60s. And the extended forecast, we warm you back up and down throughout the weekend. Warm you back up into the 60s for next week. Clark?
Thanks, Nick. Now, flooding is not just happening here in Ohio. High waters in Indiana trapped several horses. Rescue crews were in Lake Station, Indiana, about 35 miles south of Chicago, where they used boats to reach 3 horses and a llama. 9 different horses were also rescued at a nearby stable. The owner said rescue crews had to wade through 5 feet of water to pull those horses to safety. The horses are now doing okay.
And stick around for sports. It's the best time of the year for high school basketball. It's playoff time. See if local teams are still in the action or if they're going home. And local girls teams, they're also preparing to cut down the nets. See what teams are trying to do to take another step further tonight.
Going on, Hardwood Heroes fans, I am your host, Nick Niehaus. We are the authority on all things Tri-Valley Conference, and we have all the content you need. Be sure to stay tuned across all of our platforms so you never miss any of the action.
I can't feel my face anymore.
You're doing good. You're just a little slow.
Welcome to madness.
I'm expecting the unexpected.
The chicken feet really put me in a foul mood.
Join us for Family Ingredients Season 2.
Show me your mayonnaise, and I'll tell you who you are.
I can't wait to have a taste.
Now that's crispy.
Hello, I'm Paula Kerger, president of PBS. I'd like to tell you about a terrific new membership benefit called PBS Passport. With a qualifying donation, Passport brings more than 1,000 hours of great PBS and local programming to your computer, phone, or digital media player. You can catch up on shows you may have missed or revisit some of your favorites. The best part is that you can watch whenever you want. When you make your qualifying donation, you'll help to make all of the programs you love on this station possible, so don't delay. I know that you're going to love PBS Passport, so please make that donation right now, and thank you for your support.
Welcome back, I'm Tyler Corbett. And now let's tip things off with some local high school basketball. So we had 2 teams in action last night, Eastern and Federal Hocking. It was their boys teams and they had their first round of playoff games. Now it's safe to say that neither team got on the bus to go back home in a very good mood. First game on the night was Federal Hocking, South Webster. And let's get the action rolling with Hunter Smith. He's Mr. QB1 for the Lancers football team, but he looked like Mr. Three-Pointer for the Lancers early on. Smith and big man Brad Russell were trying to keep the Lancers in the game early, but for South Webster, Shiloh Blevins, all 6'5" of him was too much for the vertically challenged Lancers to deal with. He would score 25 points for the Jeeps, and Fed Hawk would be eliminated by a final score of 51-27. The Eastern Eagles, they didn't do much better, but the Eagles were on top for most of the game. And early on for Eastern, life was easy breezy. Eagles had a 14-point lead entering the fourth, and then they committed 11 turnovers in the final frame. South Gallia went ahead with just a second to go, and a last-minute shot by Blaze Facemeyer came up just short. And South Gallia would go on to win 57-55. Now, 2 boys teams were knocked out last night, but 3 girls teams are trying to stay alive in the postseason. Tonight, there are 3 area girls teams in the playoffs. Vinton County, Alexander, and Waterford are all in action. We're going to start with a Division II tilt. We have the Vinton County Lady Vikings. They're taking on Washington Courthouse. The game tipped off about 30 minutes ago at Southeastern High School in Chillicothe. Now, this game screamed competition, but right now doesn't look to be such. At the last update, the score was 15-1 Washington Courthouse. And while Vinton County is a 10th ranked team and Washington Courthouse is ranked 9th in the state, it looks like Washington Courthouse is proving their rating while Vinton County is letting it slip. Now, the Alexander Lady Spartans, they are traveling to Waverly to take on Minford. Minford is 20-0 and ranked 10th in Division III. It will be a battle for the Lady Spartans, but any team with Rachel Richardson on it has a chance to win. Now the Waterford Lady Wildcats will have to wait to be back in action. Due to flooding, all games at Jackson High School have been postponed. The Lady Cats will be back in action on Sunday at either 2 or 3:45 at Jackson High School. Now the Ohio women's basketball team is continuing to find ways to win. Last night, they added a second win against Kent State to their resume. And the Bobcats were led by Sierra CC Hooks. So Ohio won 79-78, and it was another sensational night from Hooks, who had 21 points, 9 steals, and 8 assists. Hooks was able to break the record for steals in a single season last night with 3 games remaining in the regular season. The win improves Ohio to 15-11 on the season. They are next in action on Saturday when they travel to Buffalo. And with some professional news, the Cleveland Cavaliers, they're also back in action tonight. The Washington Wizards will visit the house that King James built tonight at 8. The Wizards are still without star John Wall and will have to rely on Bradley Beal to pick up the slack. The Cavaliers, they're at full strength and will be looking to showcase the talents of new acquisitions George Hill, Rodney Hood, Jordan Clarkson, and Larry Nance once again. LeBron and company have looked like a new team ever since their midseason trade and are becoming favorites once again in the East. And hey, that's all I got for sports. We're going to toss it back to you, Clark.
Thanks, Tyler. Everybody knows avocados are tasty and good for you, but who knew they were a great place to hide engagement rings? Avocados can be made into a variety of things: guacamole, avocado toast, and now engagement ring boxes. There's growing trends of people on social media surprising their loved ones with rings inside avocados. There's even a hashtag avocado proposal. Now with that, we're going to go to Nick for a final look at your weather.
Thanks, Clark. The weekend is looking very rainy. 62 on Friday. We're going to be warm pretty much up and down. 62 Friday, rain likely. Saturday, 56, thunder showers likely. And Sunday, AM rain. The rain will finally clear out on Sunday by Sunday morning. So tomorrow in Athens, 62, rain likely. There is a flood warning in effect. Winds are out of the south-southwest, 10 to 15 miles an hour. Tomorrow, highs will be in the upper 60s.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Clark Wicks. Now stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, if you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.